Okay, it's time to talk about Secretary Hegseth. Yeah, him. It. That's his pronoun, it. I really hate talking about this guy. I hate it. He triggers me. He's just frat boy. He's ultra MAGA frat boy. Ugh. Like, I feel like he's not been told no, and when he tells no, no doesn't mean no, if you know what I'm saying. Even his mom is like, bro, get help. And then he's in charge of the most powerful military in the world with zero qualification to do that, that's frat boy behavior. I mean, the White House is a frat house now. It's not a White House. Yeah, they're going to play beer pong, or I don't actually know the games. I grew up in a Mormon cult, so but yeah, that's what the ballroom's for. They're gonna have beer pong and whatever where you guzzle, but moving on. So Jim Hines, who's the senior most Democrat in the House Intelligence Committee, is that right? Still have some brain fog. Anyway, he just came out and said that video of that boat being blown up with the two people hanging off or whatever was one of the worst things he's seen since he's been in office. And he's been there a while. And, as I read through the different stuff about it, like you have the video in 2016 where Hegseth is like, there's a lot of people should be committed war crimes, and just acts very, innocent to it all. And then you had Judge Napolitano, who's also a creeper, but he came out last night and was like, anyone involved in this has committed a war crime. Like, sorry to say that. I worked with Pete Hegseth. I like Pete Hegseth, but like straight down the line, these are freaking war crimes. And so, we'll see how this plays out. I know that articles of impeachment have been filed by a Democrat. But to me, the two things that are the most interesting is, so I know Admiral Bradley's testifying or talking about it today, I believe. And, but Admiral Halsey, that retired or resigned or whatever, quickly retired. He's really interesting to me because I guess apparently right after the inauguration, like he already started beefing with Petey. God, I hate him. Okay. With Secretary Whiskey Dick. So he started beefing with him. And probably because he has ethics and cares about the rule of law. And so then when he voiced his concern about what they were doing, or maybe what he was being asked to do, because that's what he was in charge of, Pete Whiskey Dick asked or told him to resign. So he did. And that was his first year out of a 3-year mission, which is highly unusual. So it's probably a mutual thing, but I guess Whiskey Dick asked him to resign or told him to resign, so he did. Thankfully, because he was smart enough to not get himself in this kerfuffle. Is that kerfuffle? Okay. So there's that. So I think that's interesting. I would like to hear from him about his resignation and what he was being asked to do, because I'm hoping he would tell the truth on that. Because I don't know what Bradley's going to do. Maybe he's just going to bite it on behalf of them. Maybe he's one of them, one of the bad guys. I don't know. I know a lot of them don't like him. I mean, enough that they're leaking this information. There's a lot of sources that can confirm all of this. But then we have, should I come WD? Whiskey Dick. Yesterday saying like, I saw it, but only the first strike. And then I couldn't see anything after that. And I'm very busy. So I had to go. So I didn't see what happened. But you couldn't see anyway because the fog of war. And you journalists wouldn't know about that. Okay. What he said is incorrect, because fog of war is a mutual thing going on between two combatants, and it's intensified and there's a lot going on. So it's hard to make the next call because you're trying to deal with what happened last time. Like you don't have all the information you need to make the next move, but it's two groups fighting against each other. It's not people out there having missiles launched at them in a fucking boat. So maybe he should go back and read what the fog of war is. Okay. Anyway, so moving on. But then I was watching a reporter on, I don't know if it's CBS or ABC, but the report she gave was that when they shot the first missile and hit the boat, they said there was a strong possibility, like that this is what they saw, a strong possibility of these men trying to make contact with somebody, and that they were running around trying to save the drugs. Yeah, I'm in a boat that doesn't have enough fuel to go to America. I don't even know that it was headed there. Like, we don't know anything. That's the thing. We don't know anything. That's a fog. And then they hit them. If I'm a person in a boat and there's this thing shooting a missile at me and the boat gets hit and it's on fire, I'm running to save the drugs. And who's going to come save me? Like, Mayday, like, and they can see that. So Pete says there's a fog of war and he couldn't see anything and then he left. But then now they're saying, oh, there was a strong possibility that they were trying to make contact and save the drugs. I call bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit, Whiskey Dick. Bullshit. And bullshit to the Admiral, like, God, if he could only have the ethics of the other one. So the thing is, like, it's hard because before the last few weeks, I would have said, like, they were not going to care, nothing's going to happen. And that still may be true. But I do think a lot of people care, even Republicans in Congress. I do think they care about this because this is a foreign affair issue. Like, the rest of the world knows our military. And if we're just going to play fast and loose and do whatever the fuck we want, commit war crimes, who's to say that they won't start doing the same thing to our guys? Like, fuck it, right? We can receive retaliation on our guys out there. And I don't have any doubt that some of these people have their sons in there, right? Or they've been in there, and it's just like, I just think that some people do have a limit to what's okay to commit in war. Like, and it isn't just this, you know, he gave that speech in front of the admirals and generals. Like, he's not liked at all. You know, there's just the MAGA that suck Trump's mushroom. So they don't have a brain. Like, they've got, you know, mushroom psychedelics. They have Trump psychedelics in their brains from his mushroom. Okay, I'm all over the place. I realize that, but here I am. So they can't hear that. So they're just like, yeah, get him. That's what war's for. But there are other people that are like, okay, so we can just do whatever we want now, then that means other people are going to want to do whatever they want. And do I want my son going into that and seeing that they'll just throw someone under the bus, or if someone doesn't agree with them, they'll just tell them to resign? Like, this doesn't look good for the military in any way. He's making us look so bad and so untrustworthy and unsafe, and like, following unlawful order, sure, but we may throw you under the bus for it. I mean, people were calling outside counsel from this situation saying, we're being asked to do certain things. What happens if I do them? Because they're saying we're totally safe, nothing to worry about. And the outside counsel saying, the DOJ, because they've emailed them, said, yeah, you can just do whatever. It's fine. You're covered. There will be no prosecution. There's no charges to that. And they're just like, they don't do that. That's not a thing. And if you step outside the United States, it's going to be a problem. So you might want to ask yourself why they're giving you an upfront, basically, pardon. Like, nope, whatever you do is fine. They're like, because that is not normal. And if you think you can just trust them without having really secure information and documentation and written authorization and stuff, you're naive and you're being really foolish. And I would really rethink your actions and you know, what you do from here on out. So I don't know. I could see the impeachment stuff going forward, and as more information comes out, you know, we'll see whether or not they do impeach or remove, you know. But I do think this looks really bad for the White House, especially because it's the head of the military, and they're supposed to be pro-military. Oh yeah, we're the badasses with the bazookas, and yet he's just making a fool of them.